Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. Wanted to make a quick little video talking about the upcoming SummerSlam pay-per-view. Honestly, in my mind, looking at this, I mean, you already have Brock Lesnar versus the Undertaker as your main event, and as Paul Heyman puts it, the match that's too big for WrestleMania, that it's being held at SummerSlam, is looking like it's a real big draw. People will always love to see Undertaker, people always love to see Brock Lesnar, and being able to see them go at it and actually having a meaning behind the match with the guy who broke the streak. Looks like it's going to break huge numbers. You know, when people were first finding out that Brock Lesnar and Undertaker were going to fight at SummerSlam, with Undertaker returning at Battleground, the news was breaking also that Sting was going to be a part of SummerSlam. As of right now, it looks like SummerSlam has been scrapped from Sting's schedule. It was that he was going to join, basically be the newest member of the Shield. Joining Dean Ambrose and joining Roman Reigns in a six-man tag, going up against Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and there's a slew of other people. I've heard that maybe Eric Rowan was supposed to return, and he wasn't going to be able to return in time. Maybe they were going to have Adam Rose or not Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt's already in the Wyatts. Bo Dallas or Adam Rose would join in and sort of find a way to, re-jump their careers as being a member of the Wyatts. When the Wyatts first debuted, honestly, in my mind, I thought they were a great group as a threesome, but I thought, honestly, to show the power of Bray Wyatt, they should have maybe sort of took somebody maybe like Zack Ryder and made him join the cult as he was sort of brainwashed, and then you could have a lovable babyface like Zack Ryder, who really wasn't doing anything, doing the deeds for Bray. Maybe even have some sort of a storyline with him breaking free. Maybe that's what they were doing with Daniel Bryan around WrestleMania 30. A lot of people were thinking that they were building towards a big breakout for Daniel Bryan, but in Daniel Bryan's book and as well as in interviews, he was just joining the Wyatts just to be able to do something, and it looked like he was going to be having a match against Sheamus at WrestleMania 30 that really wasn't going to mean anything. As you also had, the Luke Harper and Eric Rowan were going to be in that tag match, and then Cena was going to be in the match against Bray, which was going to be, as WWE saw it, as one of the main events. So Bryan versus Sheamus was a match that probably wasn't going to get little time, and then nobody was going to care about. So we all were lucky to get the miracle that we got. But I think it's going to be announced tonight on SmackDown, is that the three-way that was supposed to happen a month ago at the pay-per-view with Ryback, he's going to be making his return, going up against Big Show and The Miz. It looks like this is going to be a good show, as well as other matches that are going to be named as we go along. Even if we're not going to be getting Sting, the teaming of Ambrose and Reigns going up against Bray and Luke Harper could be really fun. People went bonanza at the they had the Fatal 4-Way. That's what it was. It was Orton against Reigns, Ambrose, and Rollins, and the Shield reunited, even if it was for 5 seconds, to get a short pairing of them on a big show like SummerSlam. That's a match that people are going to care about. It makes me wonder what they're doing with Roman Reigns. I thought that they're sort of rehabilitating him and sort of pushing him farther, but to me, honestly, it seems like Bray Wyatt is the ultimate killer to anybody that he gets in a feud with. If you think about how hot Dean Ambrose was last year, how hot Roman Reigns looked like he was coming out of WrestleMania 31. Even Chris Jericho was sort of staled out by Bray Wyatt. We'll see, what goes here. To put Ambrose in there, I really didn't know how over Ambrose was until I went to that house show in Stockton last week. People really love this guy, and they go crazy for him, and I got to give him his respect. That Rollins versus Ambrose house show match in the main event, which was the street fight, was one of the best house show matches that I had ever seen. It was a lot of fun. Tables, chairs. I guess we didn't get any ladders, so we can't go that far. But it looks like this SummerSlam is really coming together. It seems like all of the tag teams are going to be there, just like it's going to be at WrestleMania, trying to get everybody onto the card. But fun stuff all over. It looks like it's going to be a big show. With Sting not being there, maybe you can push Sting until next month. You saw how Undertaker returned at Battleground. Maybe you can even talk about Brock Lesnar fighting on that show as well. Sort of made the July show mean as much as SummerSlam has meant in the past, making it where people weren't able to turn off the WWE Network and not be a subscriber that month because they had their corporate big money call where they had to announce the number, and when the announcement number before SummerSlam, they wanted to have a strong number so the stock price wouldn't go down or anything like that. So SummerSlam's coming together, and I'm sure that they need to find a way to have a gimmick for every month to make sure people are subscribing, thinking that the show is really going to mean something. There's always going to be those shows like Battleground that if they don't have that big draw, they don't have really a name value that people care about. I mean, you can get away with not having the biggest Royal Rumble card of all time because people are going to want to know who's going into WrestleMania as the #1 contender. People are always going to think that the Hell in the Cell show is going to be fun because the Hell in the Show match itself, is always a good match. WrestleMania is always going to be WrestleMania, Survivor Series, and SummerSlam always have that name value of knowing that they always had good cards when you were a kid and you were growing up, so you're always going to check those ones out. But we'll see what goes down. SummerSlam 2015 looks like a good card to me. Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. I finally got my truck yesterday, so this was my first trip back to the gym, and I feel great about going to work today after this. I just got done with the gym. Like I said, I was listening to the Chris Jericho podcast with him and the conspiracy theory guy. I now believe nothing in the world is real anymore. Honestly, I sort of was like, I'll check out this episode, and if it's good, I'll keep listening to it, and if not, I'll hit the next button, and I'll find the next podcast that comes onto my iPod today. But I honestly was really into this show. I thought it was really good, and I recommend that you go check it out. It was formally announced today on WWE.com that the Intercontinental Championship will be being defended at the upcoming SummerSlam show. Honestly, with Ryback's what the heck did he have? Staph infection. He was pulled from the last pay-per-view. He said that he was crushed, that he was not going to be able to defend the championship and needed to go home and get well. I was sort of surprised that WWE did eat up some time on the pay-per-view, didn't put a match of Big Show versus The Miz on. They just sort of scrapped them, put them to the side. I don't even know if they were at the building that day. But they decided to go with a Divas match instead, putting Team Bad, Team Page, and which one am I missing? Team Bad, Team Page, and Team Bella's out there in the three-way, and that was a good match. It was fun to see those girls out there. And I guess at the end of the day, it didn't really need to see Big Show and Miz go out there for a one-on-one match. But if you go back to the feud that built up the last pay-per-view that was building to the three-way, it was Ryback out there calling himself the big guy. Then the Big Show came out there and basically said nobody's going to call themselves the big guy unless they go through me. And it looked like we were going to have two big behemoths go out there and go at it. I like to see matches like this. It reminds me a lot of when I was growing up watching the 80s. Guys like Hercules Hernandez go out there and just beat the hell out of each other, just hit each other as hard as they can, and basically not a real big wrestling match, but just a fight. And that's what I was looking for between Big Show and the Miz. Big Show and Ryback. Then the Miz butted his nose into there, and he did a good role. I mean, for a lot of the matches, he wasn't even in the match. He would be like the color commentator, or sometimes he just was out at the ring with a live microphone, just anticipating these guys fighting, just sort of, putting the knife into each other's backs. He wasn't really on one guy's side or the other guy's side, but he was like he would build up trust in one of them and then immediately turn on him and go to the other guy, and he just was that antagonizing fight. If you go back to in high school, so many times there's two guys that have a misunderstanding, and it's never that they, sometimes they do want to fight, but sometimes, they just sort of get there and they're sort of standing there, and it's always like that one guy in the crowd, like, antagonizing him. He might even kick the one guy in the butt to make the one guy, bump into the other guy, and then the other guy starts swinging, and then you got to fight. You got something to watch, and that's all that guy was really looking forward to. Ryback is the Intercontinental Champion. Honestly, I can't even really think of how he won it. I know that they stripped Daniel Bryan, and I know that Ryback beat somebody to become the IC champ, and Daniel Bryan went out there and he shook his hand. But honestly, the Intercontinental Championship, they've been trying to rebuild this since WrestleMania 31, when Daniel Bryan won the ladder match. Daniel Bryan was supposed to go on the Intercontinental, Open Challenge Tour that was supposed to be held on SmackDown. With Bryan's book and Bryan's injury, Bryan's doing a lot of press, and he's talked about what he was supposed to do for the Intercontinental title. He was supposed to go out and have really good matches with lots of guys that are on the roster that aren't really getting the time on Raw or SmackDown, trying to get them inspired, trying to give these guys something to go to Vince with and show them that, hey, I really know what I'm doing. If you just give me a chance, we can both make money here. But honestly, it almost feels like the Intercontinental Championship is cursed, with Wade Barrett being stripped, Daniel Bryan being stripped. Ryback didn't get stripped, but honestly, I don't really know why. It's not like Ryback is on this Intercontinental Championship tour where he's just really crushing it, and people are really like, yeah, Ryback. I mean, Ryback's on this tour where basically people are getting behind him again. It's almost like it's 2012 again, before the loss to CM Punk and Hell in a Cell, and especially before him losing to Mark Henry at WrestleMania 29 and then turning heel and going after John Cena and blaming him for the loss. From there on out, just basically Ryback, when was tagging with Curtis Axel, and they were never winning matches. Something that they made fun of themselves when they had their reunion, I guess, after Ryback came back from his injury, and they formally broke up on WWE.com. I like Ryback. I like him a lot. I don't know if I really like him in the Intercontinental title hunt. I think that of Ryback as a guy that maybe has some mid-card matches, beats some guys down, and once a year at a lesser sort of pay-per-view, he becomes this guy that's going after the title after some sort of a heel, and the heel wants no part of Ryback, finds some way to wussy his way out of losing the match to Ryback, and Ryback still looks big and still looks strong. I mean, there were so many guys like that on the roster back in the day when I was a kid watching it. It seemed like something that was really, really good. But now it seems like, Big Show, Mark Henry, Ryback, these big guys, just trying to, be on the roster all year round. They're dropping matches on SmackDown. Next thing you know, they're dropping matches on Monday Night Raw. And you're just looking at these guys like they don't really matter in the long run. They're just big dudes. It's not that they don't have any skills. They just don't win a lot of matches. So they don't look like big stars in the grand scheme of things. So, they're going to have this match finally at SummerSlam. I'm guessing that if they didn't strip Ryback from the championship, I got my money on Ryback to keep the championship, because I don't know, if they didn't want Ryback to be the champion, they just would have put the title on Big Show or Miz and had them have a one-on-one match at the last pay-per-view. That's the only thing I can think. Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you on the this week's edition of SmackDown. We saw the challenge issued and the challenge accepted for a new match at SummerSlam, basically being a tag match with being I guess you can say, the leftover members of the Shield, Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, teaming up, having a common bond of both not getting along with Bray Wyatt, both having long-standing feuds. Of course, Dean Ambrose goes all the way back to I don't even really remember what started that feud. I just remember when Bray Wyatt showed up inside of Hell in the Cell and cost Dean Ambrose the championship. So that goes back to last October. And of course, this year, Roman Reigns was climbing the ladder to become the new World Heavyweight Champion, and Bray Wyatt appeared tipping over the ladder. It's almost like it's never been confirmed, but it's almost like Bray Wyatt is a member of the Authority, making sure that these Shield members are not winning the championships. I didn't ever really put that together until now, but they're going to be going up. Of course, at the last pay-per-view, Luke Harper returned and beat the crap out of Roman Reigns, making it where Bray Wyatt was able to get the victory. Honestly, when it comes down to it, I know that a lot of people are expecting Sting. It's sort of a letdown not to get Sting. This was the match that was rumored to basically where Sting was going to join the Shield, and it'd be a three-way, and then somebody was going to join the Wyatts. Either Eric Rowan was going to make his return from his injury. I heard rumors about maybe Adam Rose or Bo Dallas joining the group. Definitely Bo Dallas really isn't doing much unless you're on the house shows and you're going to these shows. You'll see him. I saw, it wasn't a clip, it was a picture that WWE uploaded of way in the back, almost like sitting in the last row, seeing Shawn Michaels super kicking Bo Dallas. So I'm guessing that it doesn't look like Bo Dallas is going to be the guy joining the Wyatts. I thought maybe they'd kept him off TV for a while. Maybe he would be growing a beard. I go back in time, and when the Wyatts were coming up, I really thought that maybe if they would have hypnotized somebody and had them join the group, maybe a Zack Ryder or somebody in WWE that really wasn't doing anything, that it really would have added to the character. But then again, maybe they did do that with Daniel Bryan, but the WrestleMania 30 card and the WrestleMania crowd around WWE and the WWE Universe made Triple H and Vince McMahon change their mind and push Daniel Bryan to the championship, giving us a great moment that I'm sure a lot of people are still chasing, trying to find something as great as that as the ending of WrestleMania 30 with wrestling. But definitely in this match, I'm guessing that it's going to be a win for the Shield. Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose would be my pick to get the victory in here. I guess it's not 100% off. Maybe, Sting won't be an official member of the team and won't be an official guy that's in the match. It's been said for a while that Sting really got in shape for the match. WWE had told them a while ago, and then they had sort of pulled the cord on it just last week, saying that it wasn't going to happen anymore. But Sting is still coming to New York and New Jersey. Basically, he's going to be doing I guess it's not even New Jersey anymore, because I always think about how big WrestleMania 29 was, but that was held in MetLife, which is in New Jersey. And this is going to be held in Barclay, so I guess I've been hyping up New York, New Jersey for all this time, and New Jersey ain't getting shit this time, because in Barclay, that's in Brooklyn, so that's straight up New York. And Sting's going to be there. He's doing a meet and greet for WWE at the new WrestleMania Access. It's probably one of the few reasons that I'm sort of glad that SummerSlam has left us to go to New York. SummerSlam Access in Los Angeles was so great, being able to walk up and down the street. But then again, the last year that SummerSlam was in LA, we got the panels, which is done mainly for the WWE Network. Everybody's seen the DX one now. And I went to not the Shawn Michaels, I went to the Stone Cold Steve Austin one. And that was a ton of fun. And I know they filmed it, because I watched them film it. When I went to the bathroom, they had their TV thing all set up, and you had to walk around it to get into it. And hopefully someday that'll be put up on the network for you guys to check out. I know that they're doing a panel this time with the NXT people. Definitely that'll be put up on the network sometime. And another thing to check out is on Monday, after Monday Night Raw, there's going to be an Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar special. Tonight, I'm going to be going home and I'm going to be watching the Brock Lesnar and Taker matches from the past. And, checking those out, so I'll be up to date when the special rolls out. But big match, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose going up against the Wyatts. Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here, talking all about one of the hottest things going on in WWE right now, leading up to the big WWE SummerSlam 2015 match, and that is WWE bringing in a celebrity for the show. None other than Stephen Amell of the CW's Arrow is going to be wrestling Stardust. As of right now, this feud goes all the way back to May, when Amell was, I believe this was in Atlanta, was sitting front row at a Monday Night Raw, and before a Stardust versus Neville match, when Stardust was making his way to the ring, he leaned over the barricade into Stephen Amell's face and hissed at him. Basically, Stardust went into the ring. He lost the match to Neville, but during his post-match promo, instead of talking about losing the match to Neville, he was caught up in talking all about Stephen Amell, basically saying that he knew his secret, that he was in fact the Green Arrow, and just sort of drawing a lot of attention to Amell of the CW Arrow's fame being in the front row that night. Honestly, it sort of looked like they were just trying to get some sort of some popularity, but it's gone all the way until now, mostly being a social media feud, with Emil not being on Monday Night Raw, but always with Stardust making reference to him, maybe sometimes during his matches, acting like he's pulling out a bow and arrow and shooting it like Arrow would do during his deal. It looks like they're saying that Stephen Amell is going to be making his return to Monday Night Raw, and this time he's going to be a featured guest, or he's not going to be a fan sitting front row. He's actually going to be in the ring, a part of the action. If you can think back, one of the things that really stalled this match after being rumored that it was going to take place was the death of Dusty Rhodes. It took a long while for Cody Rhodes, Stardust, to make his return to the main roster. Once he did, he wrestled a match against Neville, which it looked like it was going to be the blow-off of their feud. He would go out and he would beat Neville, return to the back, and then on a bathroom mirror, write Neville and the Green Arrow, crossing out Neville, making it look like he had taken this feud to its end, winning the last match, and from here on out, it would be all featured on the Green Arrow. But it seems like WWE is portraying Neville and Stardust as like a comic book feud. The bumpers that they give the match, and it's leading up to it, trying to hype everybody up. They always use this sort of cartoonish font that you can tell they put a lot of work into, and it looks really, really cool. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Stardust. I think Stardust somewhere down the road needs to fade away, and I would love to see the return of Cody Rhodes. Even last night, they peeled back the paint for the little kid who's suffering from cancer. WWE signed him to a contract to make him a WWE wrestler, and well, I guess a superstar, because they don't like to call their people wrestlers, but he got to come down to the ring, and his favorite wrestler Stardust was there in the ring, and they sort of used him as a babyface at that time, and that was a good time to peel back the paint on the show and sort of show. WWE does a lot of these things on social media. They'll always highlight their Make-A-Wish deals and things like that, but to actually give them one segment of the show to make them look like good people over there was really, really cool. I've always sort of thought that it was kind of crazy that even though Monday Night Raw is portrayed as a show that is on from 8 o'clock at night until 11 o'clock at night, why it's sort of pushed towards little kids. I know that there's DVRs and things like that, but my kids are 5 and 7. They go to bed at 7:30. So my kids aren't even up for Monday Night Raw if we watched it when it was on with the instead of watching the live stream coming from the East Coast. So the kids shouldn't even be watching this crap. But it is what it is. You know what it is. But if WWE is gonna work in cartoonish ways of trying to get wrestling matches and angles over, this is a good one. I don't think that Stephen Amell is a big time celebrity as some of the people they brought in, like when they used Lawrence Taylor or they used Shaquille O'Neal, or other people that have wrestled matches along the way. Stephen Amell to me is honestly on the CW. It's a show that not that many people talk about, but I'm sure that since it does have a comic book following, I'm sure that it does have a amount of followers that do it. If you go and you use the hashtag, I can't remember exactly what it is. A meal is Raw, or a meal coming to Raw, whatever the one that Monday Night Raw WWE is using to highlight the fact that he's coming to Raw. You can see that it's getting retweeted by a lot of mainstream sort of comic book stuff that's out there. So I don't really see comic book or Comic-Con sort of fans buying the WWE Network to see this match. And more than likely, this is probably just something that's going to be played on Extra or Entertainment Tonight. They're going to give them the highlights of the match, and you'll see it portrayed on there. More than likely, Stephen Amell will get the win at SummerSlam. But it's probably fun for Cody Rhodes to be involved in a high impact angle. He hasn't been in a real one since basically being fired from WWE and then coming back and fighting the Shield at Battleground a couple of years ago. So we'll see what happens. Stephen Amell's coming to Raw, and it looks like these guys are going to be having a match at SummerSlam 2015. So that's it. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. A little bit of One of the matches is a little bit in doubt right now for WWE SummerSlam 2015, and what was going to be a rematch from WWE Battleground 2015 was going to be Sheamus, Mr. Money in the Bank right now, going up against none other than Randy Orton. This is in doubt a little bit because there have been reports saying that Sheamus did not go on the Australian tour due to the fact that he suffered a concussion before going on the trip. I'm not sure if this happened at Monday Night Raw in the six-man tag with the Wyatts teaming up with Sheamus going up against Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Randy Orton, and they're basically giving away two of the SummerSlam matches, trying to get some hype on those. It just was that basically Sheamus was scheduled to appear at all the shows. Nobody ever saw him. There was no word coming out of this. The word that is coming out of the Wrestling Observer is that Sheamus has suffered a concussion. There's been no official word given by WWE as of this time, but that would be a little bit of a shock to the system for WWE, suffering another concussion to one of their stars. Everybody knows about the problems that Daniel Bryan is having. He's not been able to wrestle since after WrestleMania 31, where he was stripped of the Intercontinental Championship after sort of trying to revive that sort of deal. It's kind of weird because, with a lot of these, former wrestlers filing suit against WWE, saying that, they have, head trauma, basically because WWE forcing them to wrestle with concussions and not letting them know of the risks that would become later in life, wrestling with concussions and not taking time off. And, basically concussion is a bruise on your brain that never goes away, and it leads to a lot of trouble later in life. Something that we've seen football players banding together and filing suit against the NFL for saying that they knew about these head problems but did nothing to prevent what would happen to these guys later in life. WWE does not want the same sort of lawsuit, so is being very precautionary about what is going on. For Daniel Bryan, it's never been officially admitted by WWE what is going on. But then, just last week, Alicia Fox suffered a concussion on Monday Night Raw, and WWE just outright said that Alicia Fox had suffered a concussion. Since then, we've seen a few different injuries that have gone just. If you read the Wrestling Observer, you know what's going on with the case, but WWE is never really coming out and saying what is going down. WWE has had to cover up injuries with the Money in the Bank before. If you go back to, I'm not sure what year that was, but at WrestleMania, Mr. Kennedy had won the Money in the Bank briefcase, and he was, on his real way up. I know if you look at Ken Anderson now, or I still call him Ken Kennedy a lot, because that's just the name that pops into my head. He was really somebody who was going to be a big star in WWE before it all sort of just sort of fell apart. The big story about him and Randy Orton having a huge falling out, and WWE taking Randy Orton's side of the case, and he was let go. Next thing you know, TNA has a guy on their hand, and maybe you can blame TNA for not being able to capitalize on how good of a star this guy really was. But if you go and watch his shoot interview, he has a great story. Everybody knows that Mr. Kennedy was the guy carrying the Money in the Bank. He won it, and for some reason, he put the Money in the Bank briefcase on the line in a match against Edge, who would win that match on Monday Night Raw and then cash in that week on SmackDown by beating The Undertaker. Was basically, he had the meeting. WWE came to him. Vince McMahon said, you know what? It's your time. We have an injury to Undertaker. You got to cash in. You got to win the belt. You're going to be our champion. And, we're going to, light the fire underneath you. And from there, Mr. Kennedy would go out and have an injury in his next match. And WWE had problems because they needed a champion. And their Money in the Bank guy was hurt as well. So they found a way to put the Money in the Bank on the line against Edge. And Mr. Kennedy, even though he was a heel, that match portrays himself as a real big babyface. He gets his ass kicked and still decides to put the briefcase on the line. He shows that he really is a tough guy. And I don't know. I don't think that WWE ever really capitalized on that when Kennedy came back from his injury. So we'll have to see what's going down. Lots of talk of, the WWE Championship versus United States Championship match, John Cena versus Seth Rollins. A lot of people are thinking that easily with the WWE Championship being put on the line. Maybe John Cena could win that match and Sheamus cashes in. So a lot of people are thinking that the Money in the Bank briefcase is going to be, put into play as soon as possible. And Sheamus having that concussion sort of throws all of that into the whack. So we'll have to see what goes down with this match in the foreseeable future. Possibly more to come on Monday Night Raw this week. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. Basically, we're going to be talking a lot about the upcoming WWE SummerSlam show because WWE has announced that after Monday Night Raw, they're going to be showing a retrospective on Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. I'm going to sit down tonight and I'm going to watch Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar matches. I think I'm going to have a ton of fun sitting down to watch these matches, so I'm looking forward to that tonight. But upcoming on Monday Night Raw, there's a big, resurgence coming. I think that it's going to be a really, really good show. I can feel that WWE's really pushing SummerSlam to make it a whole lot of fun. A 4-hour extravaganza. Last week on Monday Night Raw, Seth Rollins came out wearing his brand new "You Can't See Me, Never Shuts Up" t-shirt, and he issued a challenge of champion versus champion, championship versus championship. Seth Rollins putting his WWE World Heavyweight Championship on the line against John Cena and his United States Championship. Basically, Seth Rollins knows that he shocked the world by reaching that knee out and finding a way to break John Cena's nose live on Monday Night Raw. Probably one of the most talked about things from Monday Night Raw in the last few weeks, since Undertaker came out and made the challenge to Brock Lesnar, and Brock and Taker were fighting all around the arena. The cops finally had to show up and take Brock Lesnar out of the arena. That was the only way that they found out they were going to be able to stop this brawl. But Cena has to answer this challenge, and Cena hasn't been seen on TV, though Cena has been tweeting and basically putting up live videos of him working out in the gym, saying that he's finding ways to work out harder than ever and set new weight limits. If I was Seth Rollins, I would run. I'd be really, really scared. I think you really poked the beast here. I think that Cena's going to be coming back stronger than ever. If it's up to me and my guess, I think that John Cena is going to be making an appearance on Monday Night Raw this week. I know that people are thinking that maybe he's not going to be on television. He's been pulled off of the Australian tour, as well as a few of the other listings of what shows he's going to be at. But honestly, in my opinion, John Cena is a guy that knows that he is the flagship of the WWE. I think that he knows that he needs to step up and answer the challenge of Seth Rollins. But, an easier way to put it is that John Cena has been announced that he's going to be on Tough Enough this week on Tuesday, and I know that more than likely, John Cena, who did get his nose touched up, probably was going to be down at the Performance Center, trying to work out, trying to see how much cardio he could be getting inside of a match. So I can see him probably working out inside of the rings at the Performance Center already, where they do Tough Enough. Basically, just saying, hey, will you make an appearance for us on Tuesday? I think that it fits hand in hand, seeing how basically a portion of Tough Enough is filmed, live, but a portion of it is filmed throughout the week, starting basically right when the last week's episode ends, and they're sort of, mixed in together to become one show. I'm thinking that Cena's already going to be there, so that's the reason why Cena's going to be doing the show. But honestly, Cena has to answer this challenge, and I don't see Cena answering this challenge via Twitter or via satellite. Cena's going to do this live, in person, in Washington. They're calling it Seattle, but it's in some other little town. Burke? I can't exactly remember what it is, but Cena's going to answer this challenge. And at SummerSlam, Cena and Rollins are going to fight. And honestly, in my mind, I know that Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker is going to be the main event. And it's going to be what everybody's focused on, and more than likely what everybody's going to be talking about come Monday, getting us ready for Monday Night Raw. But I think that Cena and Rollins more than likely will have some sort of a false finish, no finish. Something's going to come of it. I don't think that Cena is going to be losing his United States Championship. I don't think that Rollins is going to be losing his WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I think that both guys will just walk away from the ring, more than likely pick different guys to battle with, and we'll see what goes from there. Maybe, Sheamus is a portion of SummerSlam trying to cash in his Money in the Bank. I know that he has a feud ongoing with Randy Orton, and I know that we just had a WWE cash in at WrestleMania 31, so it seems like it's still fresh and in everybody's mind, but he's got to use it sometime. I don't really see anybody holding on to that Money in the Bank briefcase for as long as Seth Rollins did, which I think, honestly, is the longest that anybody's ever... No, it can't be, because Dolph Ziggler held it one more day because he cashed in the night after WrestleMania on Alberto Del Rio, after Swagger beat him up. And they went from there. But that's SummerSlam. SummerSlam's co-main event, you know, Taker versus Lesnar. Rollins versus Cena. The challenge is out there. No doubt in my mind at Monday Night Raw, Cena is going to answer the challenge. And we're going to go from there. SummerSlam, Cena versus Rollins. Going to be a big one. Hey, what up everybody, this is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. After last night's Monday Night Raw, we now have a main event for SummerSlam. Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar. This is going to be one of the big ones. This is definitely going to be a WrestleMania style main event that we've been talking about for the SummerSlam in Brooklyn this year. Barclays Center. They're really trying to push this big deal. A little bit confused why WWE would give away the month of August for free. We know that there's a ton of people out there who know how to cheat the system, who don't have $10 to pay for the WWE Network, but at the same time, even though I'm happy paying my $10, I mean, if you can get something for free, why wouldn't you take it for free? So I understand for those people who do steal from WWE, even though it is something that we all come together and we all understand that, you know, this is wrestling, this is all what we love, this is all why we're connected. But you have the easy setting of why this match is happening between Undertaker and Brock, being that Undertaker is pissed off that he no longer has his WrestleMania streak. Maybe you can look at WrestleMania 31 and the Bray Wyatt match sort of as a way of saying that that was Undertaker's tune-up to make sure that he was ready to come back. Maybe he doubted himself, thinking that maybe he wasn't as mortal as he once was. Well, I guess he wasn't as immortal as he once was, and he thought he was becoming more of a mortal man, and maybe he thought he was being taken out to the pasture to die, but he was able to defeat Bray Wyatt. He was able to overcome that. So now he knows that he can go after Brock Lesnar, and he has the same powers as he has before. So, you know, he came out and at Battleground and made sure that he stopped Brock Lesnar from becoming the World Heavyweight Champion, helping Seth Rollins, and now is saying, come on, Daddy, let's come and get it. And Brock is more than ready to bring the fight to Undertaker. Last night showing up and surprising Taker, as Taker was surprising Paul Heyman, almost as if Brock Lesnar was hunting the Undertaker and he had set a trap for him. From there, all the wrestlers spilled into the ring, and it didn't matter how many wrestlers got in between these guys, they still wanted to tear each other apart from limb to limb. So this is going to be a big fight, and I'm more than ready for it. Honestly, in my mind, you would think that Undertaker has to beat Brock, but then again, Brock hasn't lost a match in WWE in 2.5 years, only wrestled a countless number of times, but at least he hasn't been beat since WrestleMania 29. WrestleMania 30 was ultimately a big surprise to me. Honestly, going into that match, I didn't really care for it that much. I thought that it was a lock that every time Undertaker wrestled a match at WrestleMania, he was just going to win. So I thought maybe they put Brock Lesnar in there as a guy that had a big name, had a big body. So when Undertaker beat him, it was a big surprise. But honestly, when Undertaker lost, it was a huge surprise. So going into this match, we know that nobody really has a true advantage. Undertaker, yes, has lost to Brock once. Brock has beat Taker, but you know, it's no clue on what's going to happen. So you're going to have to be tuned in to seeing, you know, what goes down. You know, there is no more streak. There is no undefeated. It's just one dude who wants to take another guy out behind the woodshed and, you know, run him through the train and see what goes down. So these guys are going to be hitting each other hard. Hopefully, Undertaker doesn't suffer a concussion minutes into this match, and we can get the match that we were hoping to get at WrestleMania 30 and see what goes from there. But I'm looking forward to it. I know you guys are looking forward to it. So big match, Taker versus Brock. Who you got?